Grant Cardone and I just launched this amazing program that we spent, 30 or 40 hours building. And it's effectively how to buy a business with no money. My expertise is in growing businesses without the need of capital from third parties. But the truth is, I started my career by buying businesses with no money. The whole purpose of this show is to engage with business owners and be able to answer questions for people that will give them some insight and perspective on how to grow and scale a business. Not only leadership, but real life examples. This is the golden moment. I would do business with you right now.
Welcome to 10X Owners Live. We are happy to have you. This is one of our hosts. His name is Brandon Dawson. He is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer at Cardo Ventures, business extraordinaire. Who's new in the chat? Can you put new if this is your first time with us?
All right. You did a great job of kicking the show off, by the way.
Are you being sarcastic?
You did awesome.
Thank you.
We got some new people.
Look at all these new people. That's what I'm saying,
They
guys.
don't know who we are.
This guy is a living legend. I mean that. I'm his number one fan. My name is Natalie Dawson. I'm the executive
my wife for
vice
all the
president
new
of operations
She's
at
biased.
Cardo Ventures. But I think it's pretty freaking rad and cool that as somebody who works in a business with their significant other, I know we have family business owners on the call tonight, that I think that he is a living legend and that he is awesome and that he is really incredible. And if you have a family business, I think that would be something that you would want your significant other or your cousin or your brother or your wife's cousin or whoever is family in your organization to be able to say about you. So Brandon's experience. You want
Thank
to share
you.
with
And
them?
I think you're remarkable
Yeah,
as
but
well. So
no.
accolades
we all know
all
that.
the way around. All right. Welcome to our 10X Owners Show, Owners Live. We love doing this every Tuesday night. My thing keeps falling down.
We'll get that fixed.
We have a community of so many remarkable business owners. We always talk about interesting topics to people who are curious about how to start, how to grow, scale,
and why are
exit
we experts
their business
in knowing how to start, scale, grow, and exit businesses?
Because that's what we do for a living, and we do it for thousands of business owners. And
what's your expertise in the space?
For the new people.
Yes.
All right. I've started several businesses. The last business I started and grew over 15 years, self-funded. That is my expertise, starting and growing businesses without the need for raising any money or taking on any debt, by having responsible businesses that generate the resources you need to grow and scale. And then I sold that business for 151 million, 77 times EBITDA. Natalie and I partnered just about 3 years ago, with the remarkable Grant and Elena Cardone and the rest of the 10X community. And in less than 36 months, we've built a business that's managing almost $1 billion in assets already, and in excess of 100 employees, I believe.
It's crazy.
So all that's happened in the last couple of years effectively. And many of the people that are on the show with us are clients that we've helped significantly grow their businesses. So you get to hear a lot of wins on this show. I think there's enough losses going on other people's shows. I think if you watch the news and in some parts of the country, there's enough losses going on to overwhelm all of us. But what we focus on are the wins, because no matter what's going on around us, we all need a little bit of inspiration to figure out how to take control of our future personal, professional, and financial growth, and then teach others to do exactly the same thing.
That's right. I see a handful of existing Cardo Ventures clients, both in the chat and on my screen. Guys, we see you. There's like a big television in front of us, and we see all of your faces. So Pat Morstad, totally see you. Also Hot Tub Cody. What a great name. Jared, I see Jared Ritter in the chat. Anyway, we have some awesome CV clients who have had significant growth with us. And then for those of you who are new, we're happy to have you. We, as Brandon said, are pro business around here. We're pro talking about people who are winning, learning from what they're doing in the marketplace in order to win, how they're acquiring customers, what their sales messages are, how their operations are structured, so that more people can have more success, because we are very interested in creating success in your business.
That is 100% true. I see we have some hands up. We could take some
Oh,
early questions
Oh.
before we get in the meat of it.
oh, wow.
Because, here's the thing.
Whoa.
Let's talk about tonight's subject real quick.
Okay.
Okay. So Grant Cardone and I just launched this amazing program that we spent, I don't know, 30 or 40 hours building. And it's effectively how to buy a business with no money. My expertise is in growing businesses without the need of capital from third parties. But the truth is, I started my career by buying businesses with no money. And so we wanted to create a program to help people that wanted to expand or grow their existing businesses, or people who are inspired to maybe find a business that they can acquire. So we're going to be talking about finance, because we have a finance essentials this weekend, right? And is that here in Vancouver, or I'm sorry, here in Scottsdale?
That's right. Here
So
in
I thought I was
Scottsdale,
back home in
Arizona.
Washington State for a while.
We're here in Scottsdale.
So we have a finance essentials here where we go over all the elements of having financial responsibility in your business. It's a $10,000 2-day program that, for this audience, we've got it for $5,000 effectively, but
$4,997.
$4,997.
But this is a special offer and only for people who move forward tonight.
We are offering our 10X business buying accelerator program that Grant and we're going to pay the registration fee for anybody that comes to the Finance Essentials Workshop this weekend to learn about how to grow and scale your business responsibly without the need for money. But because we happen to have a Finance Essentials Workshop and we're all going to be here anyway, and we launched yesterday this new business buying accelerator program, anybody who comes this weekend, we will pay your registration fee for you to learn how to get and buy a business with no money.
So exciting. So if you're interested in this offer, scan the QR code on that slide or DM one of our sales ninjas who are
you
on
just put
the
it in
call.
the chat if you're interested, or scan it. And basically this is an extensive program that we've built. So we are committed to helping business owners incubate their career.
But if you can't come to Finance Essentials this weekend, we are going to put in the chat.
If you want to go straight to the business buying
direct
accelerator program, you can do that directly.
Link right there. So with that, are you wanting to just kick off the show with questions now that we've?
Well, look, I think here's the thing. We've got some hands up, so let's grab a few. Let's start with. Who do you want to start with?
I mean, how do we not? He's just like ready. Who else would we choose?
I know. You know what? Here's what I know.
Promote.
You know why I said let's start the evening off right now? Because when I see a grin that goes from ear to ear, it means something really good is happening. And then
the spirit fingers, the Cardo Ventures.
Yeah. So let's bring Pat up.
Pat Morstad.
How are you,
Let's
buddy?
get you unmuted.
Now, while he's getting unmuted, I just want to tell people that are new. Pat last February came to one of our events and said, "Hey, I'm frustrated. I've been doing just over $1 million a year for 10 years in my landscaping business. I make $100,000 a year. I'm frustrated. I want to grow it." And as we started talking about the things he could do to grow it, he started telling me all the reasons why all my ideas were not very good and how I didn't know about his market. I didn't understand his business. We hear that all the time. And so I was like, look, dude, you can continue to convince me why you can't grow, or you can learn from us on how you can grow. So those that are new, I'm just going to let you know, he ended the year. He'd been doing $1.1 million-ish, making $100,000. He ended the year at over $3.5 million, made over $500,000 in the 10 months. And so now I see him grinning from ear to ear. So I cannot wait to get an update. Pat, what is going on with you? We're all dying to know.
Well, we got many things that are going on, and I can barely keep up with it myself. But Natalie, I want to shout out to you a little bit here, because we've literally hired about 8 people in the last month and a half here. And I think they're just absolutely remarkable people. So that's a win. I wasn't necessarily wanted to talk about that. My question really truly goes right to you, Brandon. And I want to know what the most important question that you could ask a owner of a business that you are looking at acquiring.
That I'm looking at acquiring?
Yeah. So like if I was going to acquire a business and I came to you and you're the owner, what's the most important question that I could ask you?
Mm.
Yeah. Well, so I don't think there's a single question, to be honest with you. I would want to know why they weren't able to grow larger, whatever size they are. What were the top three things that impeded their ability to grow larger? Because here's the thing, hint, hint, if I'm negotiating to buy a business, I want the business owner to tell me all the reasons why they can't try to take it up in price or even support the price they're asking. So instead of going in and talking about how much room there is for growth, because that's what business owners that are selling want to do. They want to tell you that they're selling right now because there's all this opportunity. So then my response, my first question before they get a chance to do that is asking them, so congratulations on building your business to where it is today. Now walk me through the top three reasons you couldn't grow it bigger.
Awesome.
Because now I'm going to start negotiating against the very thing I know that they're going to try to negotiate with me, which is how much room there is for it to grow. And I'm going to set the precedent that maybe there is room there for it to grow, but you didn't get it. So I'm not paying you for stuff I got to do.
Would you start the conversation there? Would you kind of like warm them up and get them?
Well, he asked most important. He didn't say after the meet and greet and cutting a steak.
No. I'm
he
aware.
asked me the most important question.
Listen, I've watched these negotiations when we acquire businesses, so I know the schmoozing that takes place. And
I'm a formidable.
I
am a formidable schmoozer.
He is an ultimate schmoozer, and I just don't want you to hear like you go in for the kill by asking the three things.
Yeah, but once you start talking, right, they're going to start talking about, well, we're thinking of selling, we're ready to retire, plus there's so much opportunity in the business, and they're going to go through their little thing. Unless they're just being honest and saying, hey, I can't build it anymore, I'm tired, I'm burned out, I just want out, I just want to go. I've never met any sellers that, well, I have, but generally speaking, most of them don't sell that way. So when they start going down that track, I'm like, that's awesome. Good for you. That's great. Now walk me through what you have not been able to do. So I understand about the limitations within the business. What have you not been able to do to make it grow bigger? Like, what have you tried that's failed? Because I want to reframe that. Hey, whatever size it is, it's that size. It's not 10 times bigger. If that's going to happen, that's because I got to do something different than you've not been able to figure out how to do. Because most sellers want you to pay on future performance and opportunity, but they want to sell it on current performance.
So when some of these companies right now, let's say they're in a market, like in construction, we're in a good world right now, right? And we know that it slides backwards once in a while, but it also gives us opportunity to do more. Sometimes those owners that want to get out, maybe they're thinking that that's the top, and then they're asking for top. How do you circumvent some of that?
I don't buy businesses. I don't buy businesses based on a 1 month or a 1 year trend. I buy them on the average of 3 years because that's really representative of the market. So now they may want to throw the COVID year out. I've had some of those negotiations. I'm like, great, then let's go the year before COVID. So some people want to pull the COVID year in because it was the best year they ever had. So it's one of these things where one year doesn't make a trend. And anybody that's saying, well, this year I made more money than I ever made, there's so much opportunity, I'm ready to sell. Then you're like, well, if you've made more money than you've ever made and your confidence level is at 10, that it's just going to keep going, why are you selling right now?
Right. Yeah.
I think this is really important data for anybody who is a business owner on the call, because think about this. He's asking the question probably because Pat wants to acquire a business. But at that point in time in which you decide you want to sell your business, have you been running your business for 3 years, looking at your financials, so that there is a trend and a story that's being created that would be compelling to a potential acquirer? And if you're not looking at those things, if you're not paying attention, if you don't even know that that's a criteria when you sell, that somebody's going to look at those things, you're not going to focus on it when you have time. So then you're going to inch up to that 6 months before you want to sell, and you're going to look back and see, oh my gosh, there's no story to tell here, or the story is actually pretty grim. And if you would have just focused on it and made it an intentionality a few years before, you could have done very specific strategic things in order to craft the story for how you would be exiting the business.
Yeah, anybody that buys that business buying accelerator program, if you're a potential seller, you probably want to buy it and understand how you need to position the business. Because if I'm a business buyer, you're going to understand how I'm going to negotiate my way in. So Pat, in your case, you don't necessarily want to go out with what you're doing in your business. You don't want to go buy somebody else's businesses at the top of the market anyway. You want to find the underperforming businesses that have assets, they have the manpower, but they don't have what you've been able to experience. So if you go see a business that took a huge jump in 1 year, you know, it's not indicative of what the business is going to continue to do going forward, because that only happens if there's someone there driving it. And if you've got to be the person driving it, then why would you be paying a seller who's exiting it for 1 year's worth of performance when you're the one that has to come in and keep the pressure on the system? I'll tell you another thing, so you all understand. I've bought over 138 businesses. I would rather buy a $5 million business that was making no money than a $5 million business that was making the top percentage of the most money that can be made. Because the business that's not making much money, I'm going to buy it cheaper and I'm going to be able to improve it, versus the business that's making a lot of money. If I don't have direct experience in that area, then a lot could go wrong to cause it not to make money. That is different than what most business buyers would tell you. They would tell you because most business buyers aren't operating experts. So I'm an operating expert. So I'd rather buy something that had large volume but didn't know how to make money than buy something that was so well run that it was going to be very hard to duplicate it.
Mm-hmm. This is where I love how this business buying course and our finance essential offering like just is a perfect marriage, because if you're interested in buying a business, that means that there would be a seller, right? So there's both sides of that transaction that have to be present. The finance essentials teaches business owners, okay, how do I look at my P&L and how do I create incentive plans and equity earn-in structures that would be interesting for a potential acquirer, not uninteresting and potentially a deal breaker because you offered equity or you used the wrong structures with your operating agreements that would prevent them from actually being able to extract real value in your business when you did go to exit it. And so these two things, if you haven't been to one of our finance essentials workshops and you're thinking of exiting your business in the coming years, I would highly recommend that you do that so that you start the story now. It doesn't start 2.5 years from now when it might be too late.
Yeah. And, if you come to finance essentials, you're going to learn the things like revenue per employee tracking, key performance indicators. You're going to look how to create the competencies and the skill sets you need to run the business and compensate off of. Most business owners get in trouble with their finances because they don't track or manage them. If you're new, here's some interesting statistics. There's 31.5 million businesses under $100 million. Those are designated as small to mid-sized businesses. 2/3 will fail every 5 years and 97% will fail every 10. The reason for that is those business owners never actually learn how to structure the business financially to succeed. So they make so many wrong mistakes. And then when things do take off, they get false sense of confidence because they're not paying attention to the key performance indicators to say if the business is growing healthy or if it's growing but declining in value. So you want to build a business where it's increasing in value at the same time that you're growing it, not decreasing in value while you're chasing revenues. So most people, they sell when they think they've tapped out their ability to take it to the next level, or they're at retirement, an age where they want to get out, or it's so big, they want to take some chips off the table.
Take some chips off the table.
Take some chips off the table.
We just had chips. We like chips. It's always.
So Josh asked me, when you buy a business, how fast do you expect to turn it around? As a professional operator, I would say that, you shouldn't have more than 90 to 120 days. Now, if you're going to have to shuffle many of the employees out because they're broken mindsets and things, then you're probably going to have 6 months. But if you buy, just do the math. If you buy a $2.5 million business that's making 20%, $500,000 a year, and it breaks from 2.5 million down to say $1.5 million, you're actually going to be losing probably about 350,000 a year. So you then you're adding another 350,000 on top of the purchase price to fix it. So you want to make sure that in a perfect world that you have your integration strategy, which we talk about at Finance Essentials. You have your integration strategy before you close on it, so you know exactly what you're going to do after you close.
Isn't finance fun?
Finance. It's fun when you're making money. It's not fun when you're losing it.
Oh man, it sucks when you're losing it or when you're just losing in general. Have you ever felt like you were losing?
Sometimes, I mean,
Ugh.
I have in the past. I haven't in a long time, but I
Mhm.
definitely have felt like I've lost a few times in my cycles of growing up and experimenting and learning how to do all the things that we do today. And, you know, it's just no fun. No fun losing. That's why we do this show. We want to help all of you not go through a loss period.
Mhm.
You know, you got to understand the technical aspect of doing the things that you want to do. But once you get the technical aspect down, man, it starts to get really super fun for sure. Thanks, Pat, for your question.
And congratulations on the 8 employees.
Yeah, let's go at 250 to 500,000 revenue per head, Pat. You know what to do with those numbers.
Let's go. Now, how do you hire 8 employees in a day?
Let's do it. All right. So who's next?
Burkett is the next person up that I see.
Okay, let's go.
Am I saying your name right? Burkett?
You are, Natalie. Good job.
Hi.
Nice.
Hi. So I'm reading Teamwork. It's great. I love
Awesome.
it. And I love the fact that you're just blunt, which is
I
wonderful.
am very blunt.
Yeah. So in April 2020, I raised some money and bought out my partner in our internet business. We have about 10,000 customers now. We're in Canada. We're in this weird thing called rural internet, which turned out to be a perfect chance because April 2020 started the pandemic. The question I have though is, it's the first time I've actually been actively with my sleeves rolled up, making shit happen. And I'm allowed to say that, right?
Yes, you
and
are.
So part of this is that I'm learning to work with the management team because they've been there, some of them for 20 years. And they're really good at a lot of things. But we're having a discussion about, we're going to do a project. It's going to cost us about $800,000 for a build. And in that project, I was counting on a return in 2 years. And they're going, well, but we pay the people anyway, so we won't count labor in the cost of this project. So I was just wondering if you had a comment on how that might work. So that'd be a Brandon question.
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were asking her and I started reading. I was trying to catch up on so ask the last sentence of that question.
So the question was, when we're actually doing this work, it's an $800,000. It's part of, we're doing about 2 million in builds this year. 800,000 is a brand new project which has no subsidy, and we're building it for ourselves. We're passing about 185 homes, about 17 kilometers worth of fiber to the home. And I talked to my CFO and he says, oh, we never count labor in these projects. We only ever count capital costs. And I'm going, well, wait a minute. It's something that they said, well, we have to pay the labor anyway because they're people on staff. And I'm going, no, I think we want to assign it to the project as part of the project cost. Anyway, it's a discussion going on right now. And I wondered what you thought of that, Brandon.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you have revenue and you have cost of goods and then you have your G&A, right? I would always want to assign my labor cost per project to that project. So I understood what the true cost of that particular project was, because if you could find a way to get higher valued projects, if you're not measuring the total cost impact, it's hard to go and find out how to improve the expense against the project. So let's just for raw example say that to put the $850,000 worth of business in, you pay $200,000 or $250,000 of labor, and then you go get another job that cost that you charge $280,000, and it only costs you $175,000 of labor. You would want to know, why did one job cost more labor than another job? So because just because it's a fixed expense at some level doesn't mean it's not a variable expense across a particular job.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get across. I'm trying to get people to budget. I come from a software background
Of
where we
course.
do a lot of projects for people.
Yep. You're trying to do allocation costs. So
yeah, exactly. We always did.
Yeah.
We always did cost allocation back to the project. Because.
So
often
I would say, I would ask your
customer-
CFO, look, I'm just surprised. It's a $2 million firm.
We're 10 million.
Okay. So look, I'm not a CFO, but I would just be surprised that a CFO would not want to know of your total labor cost, how much of that is assigned to which projects and why.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. And Enrique is taking good care of us. So thanks very much.
Yeah, that's
hiring
good.
him.
Well, we're really
Him too.
looking forward. We love people who built $10 million businesses, and you're striving to get it a much bigger than that. Congratulations for rolling up your sleeves and getting involved with the team. Anything we can do to help you, you might want to bring them down to this Finance Essentials this weekend, your finance team, and let us help them out a little bit.
Tight for that. We're looking at doing people's essentials first.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, we're
Well,
looking forward to
part of it
meeting
is-
the team.
Part of it is because I want to get to their personal, professional, and financial goals so that we can get that on the table, because there will be an exit. It's going to be, the company's growing, and I've helped. But now the question becomes, where can we get to in the next while? And that's part of the challenge, is getting everybody on the same page. We're using a thing called EOS, Entrepreneur's Operating System.
Yeah,
It's
Gino
actually
Wickman.
work-
We've done a few podcasts with Gino. So, Gino's a buddy. He sold that business a year ago.
Yep.
And so if you go watch the Dawson show, you'll see that we had a whole conversation with him
I think
about
it's on
his
my
new
show.
project.
I don't think it's your show. Just saying. He was on my podcast.
I think he was on.
Whose podcast was he
Okay.
on?
He's on mine.
Well, anyway, Gino's, the best thing out of that is the level 10 meeting. It gets us so much better aligned once a week, Wednesday mornings.
Exactly.
Not-
We
you know,
actually
not-
use some of those planning theories as well. But our deal is, so when you think of those weekly meetings, our operating system is, we have, for people that are inside of that have hired us and they're working with us at that level of connection, they're in our strategic business unit. So instead of having a single point in contact, they have a 5-function team that's operating off of their business strategy as part of the management team that would augment your leadership team, so they could offload a lot of those projects and things. So I think, look, anytime you got an organization where you got people helping you, you're increasing your awareness, you're increasing your acumen, you're increasing your knowledge. Those are all really good things. So we're excited to have you be part of our group going forward.
All right. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Just
Yep.
for reference, the podcast is called Taking the Entrepreneurial Leap with Gino Wickman, and it's on the Workwoman podcast, which is my podcast. You were doing
Is it on mine?
No, it's not on yours. That was my podcast. We welcomed Gino to the workroom. Remember, I read the whole thing.
Oh
I
my
did
gosh,
all the
she
prep.
hijacked my damn podcast.
Get out of
and
here.
stole my guest.
Whatever.
I gotta watch her. I'm gonna talk to these guys that supposedly are on my payroll.
My payroll, our payroll.
Awesome. So, okay, so let's look at who's next.
Whoever you want to pick.
Let's pick Hot Tub Cody.
Hot Tub Cody with the 10X hat.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you for taking my question. I appreciate it. How you guys doing tonight?
We're
Good,
so
buddy.
good.
Good
We
to see
actually
ya.
had our first swim in our hot tub last night. So I'm hoping that you're in the hot tub business, or else this name might not be connecting right.
I am in the hot tub business. I am.
Awesome.
I want to thank Brandon for taking my question this past weekend at the scaling workshop. Really helped. We were talking about franchising, and my business has grown so much over the past. It's not even 2 years old, but we've been growing so much. I've been getting a lot of pressure to franchise the business, and I just appreciate you helping with clarity on that. So thank you.
Got it, buddy. And,
Yeah.
and where's your business at again?
Northern Michigan. We clean and manage hot tubs. So we deal a lot with vacation rentals, VRBO, Airbnb. We get a lot of those customers.
You asked him the question about the thing being so low?
What thing?
The jet.
Oh, I was mad because we were in our new hot
He
tub.
got so upset last night.
We had never been
Uh-oh.
in it, and they put the jets like an inch off of where you sit instead of in the
Yes.
middle. So it's
Yeah.
like blowing on my butt instead of my back. I'm like, they didn't put any jets up for your back. Like, aren't they supposed to be up higher where you can get them on your
This
back?
was a personal problem. I don't like jets, so he's
Hey.
the only person that's affected by this.
You know, some people, they don't even use the jets when they sit in the hot tub. Other people, they love them.
That's me.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
there was a neutral answer. All right.
Cody,
Awesome.
did you have a question?
Do you have a
for
question,
us?
Cody?
I didn't. I just wanted to say thank you so much. I
You
appreciate
got it,
it.
brother. Appreciate you, man. Love the hat.
Hot
Thanks.
tub Cody.
All right. All right. Jesse, how are you, man? There you go.
You there? Okay.
Yeah. How are you?
Hey, thanks. I'll see you guys this weekend. So we're going to be down for the finance workshop.
Awesome.
Yep. So I talked to you guys a little bit. I had a quick question about KPIs. So we're working on KPIs. We have no KPIs for anybody. So one of the questions that I had was we're really struggling with coming up with ideas for production workers. So we run a day and a night shift, and typically it's a group of 5 individuals. And so we have done incentive programs where we have a base that we want a target we want them to hit every week, and we track that, and then we would give them a small bonus if they hit over that, like pizza, $20, something. We would do that each week. But you guys talked about not doing really KPI set as a group, and we want to hone in on the individual, because you know what happens if you have 2 people that aren't pulling their weight, the other 3 feel like they are, and then the other side of that is jeopardizing quality and production. So we got into a little bit of an issue where they were striving hard to hit their numbers, but all of a sudden we've got some issues with some work comp claims. They're not paying attention. So I know in like the roofing industry, I talked to a friend of mine, he was paying his roofers by the roof, hammer and get through it. Well, then all of a sudden he has guys got falling off roofs. He's got workman comp claims. So you guys have looked at so many businesses. I'm looking for some ideas and advice on how to set KPIs when you're looking at any type of production work and you've got maybe a group of people working together. So that's where we're at, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you would do it off of, so for the new people, there's 3 aspects of all businesses: flow, conversion, and retention. So whoever's working on the flow, you would have a set of group KPIs. Whoever's working on conversion, you'd have a group set of KPIs. So what that would mean is if you had, on the conversion side, if you had 10 salespeople, I'll just say this, and the goal was for each salesperson to do $10,000, the group KPI would be $100,000 of sales. The individual KPI would be $10,000. And what you're probably going to have is you're going to have a small group of people doing 15 or 20, a bunch doing 5 to 7, and then a handful doing 1 to 2, because that's how it normally works when you have 10 people, right? So your KPI would be a group KPI, and then you'd have an individual KPI. Now, what would make up the individual KPI? So say you had 10 salespeople, and your daily KPIs was 100 calls per salesperson. Okay. So the group KPI is 1,000, individual KPI is 100. Then on the 1,000 calls, you want to call it 100 appointments. So the group KPI would be 100 appointments. The individual KPIs would be 10 appointments per person making the calls. Right. And then all of a sudden you say, okay, we want to generate, call it $1,000 an appointment. And then the group would be, so you just layer the 3 things out, and then the group KPI, you'd roll all 3 into those macro 3, and then each individual to have their micro 3, but it mirrors it. The only difference is group versus individual.
And we're very selective about teams that have group key performance indicators, which is what we mentioned last week. For the purposes of, for the workman's comp claim, is it just one person or is it multiple people? Like, we're not proponents of getting corrections or giving corrections to team members in a group setting unless everybody in the group was responsible, but very rarely is everybody responsible, or you've set the structure up wrong to where there isn't somebody who's slightly more senior, who's been given the seniority to make certain types of decisions so that they are the person that's responsible for decision makings or potentially hazards that take place. But for the most part, we shy very much away from the group dynamic It's only when team members have to work cross-functionally, with which we have a handful of team members who do. I would also look at it from the angle of like what would make, so business risk, right? The workers' comp is a piece of it. I like what you did with the timing, because I think that's a really helpful way to look at how to set KPIs. If you can't measure something hourly, and you shouldn't, and if you can't measure it daily, like it's too short of a period of time, how do you back out the work product to say, okay, is weekly the right number, or is it monthly? Some teams it's quarterly, it's based off of overarching project completion, but I would be looking at, okay, what is the weekly? We try to make our KPIs based off of a combination of those different time periods. But if you were to think with, okay, we already kind of have our weekly target going, what would a monthly target be for the individual roles? And then what even would a quarterly target be? Because that could create a different set of KPIs if there's different project-based work.
No, that's super helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Sherman, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, buddy.
Unmuting.
I'm
Good to see
good.
you.
First of all, I was just really excited about this weekend because the finance team is going to be on virtually with
Awesome.
Jeff. So Katie's on here, and I think she's going to also have our bookkeeper in with her, and they'll be watching from over in the Philippines. So that was great.
So cool.
Big game changer for me because I was able to become much more skilled at what do I need to look at as an owner in the business. So my question is, I'm at a meeting this past Friday with one of the companies that we've been in discussions about acquiring. And I'm wondering, we know we have platforming coming up, I think in a week, like the 10th, we're doing our platform review. They're certainly interesting. At what point in time, I've been speaking to Tanner, at what point in time should we look at getting Tanner involved? Do we kind of kick this stuff off post the platforming, or just from a timing perspective are those
Well,
discussions?
I mean, due diligence usually takes 90 days.
Mhm.
So when you get your platform, you start to identify all the leverage points and opportunities. I would prefer that you get the platform first, because that's going to drive you into decision-making about how to augment the current business. And then realistically, I'd love to see you get in the SBU for 3 to 6 months so they can get everything organized, because then if we find a business to buy, while we're doing the due diligence, we do the critical mapping to your integration of your existing business, so that you don't have, where all those leverage points are. And we're assessing that along with building a 30, 60, 90-day integration strategy from close. So the sooner you guys get in the cycle of having us get in the strategic business units, and we got your businesses organized and we're running all the engine behind you, then when you go find a target, we can do the modeling and the integration strategy culturally, operationally, financially, 30, 60, 90 days post-acquisition, and help with the whole thing. It's very hard to do that when you have so many moving parts.
Right.
If your business isn't thoroughly organized, if it isn't being run, and I'm not saying yours isn't, Sherman, but I'm saying to people listening to this, the time to do an acquisition is when you've maximized and really formalized your own business first. Because then you're taking somebody else's broken system and you're putting it on top of your broken system. Now you have two broken systems.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Well, I think we'll learn a lot more at platforming. So I look forward to seeing you guys out there.
We're excited to see you
Look
next
forward to
week.
seeing you.
And just for everybody else on the call, if I was you, I might be a little confused about like, what are we even talking about? Who's Tanner and why are they talking about buying a business? So we have this course, and this course, if we want to put the course link in the chat, the course is Brandon and Grant teaching you how do you go from
It's
zero to
Business
purchasing
buying
a
accelerator
business.
program. Yep.
So it's learning, it's content to give you and equip you with those tools. We also have an arm of our business that's called Buy Sell,
10x buy sell,
which is where we help business owners. They pay our team a fee to go out and either purchase a business and do the due diligence on it, or to sell their business. And so there's a do it yourself, which is the course, but then there's also a do it for you, where you're hiring Cardo Ventures advisors and experts to go out in the marketplace and find the best deal or help you sell at the right price.
Look, there's $10 trillion of wealth transfer happening in the next 10 years.
Can you
and-
explain what that means? Because I don't think
Yeah, I'll tell you.
that's not normal.
So there's actually 33 trillion of wealth transfer happening, but a lot of that is like the Bill Gates of the world and stuff that's kind of outside
Where
of
is
our
it
reach.
transferring? Like when you say transferring,
I
what
was
does
just
that
going to
mean?
explain it.
Okay.
This is kind of like a home.
This is what is home? This is home. We're in front of our family right now.
This is our living room.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, so wealth transfer is like, let's say we have an age gap relationship and Natalie's half my age. Let's just pretend for a minute that that would be true.
That's real.
And let's say I die and transfer the wealth I had that Natalie didn't have
Yes.
to Natalie, and now Natalie has it.
Yes.
But I also have children and I have long lost cousins. You thought I was going to say long lost children. And
As long as it's not long lost wives, we're good.
And so here's the thing. So people that have a lot of money don't just go give their money to their wife and say, good luck. It usually goes into like a trust or something. And the wife is usually, or the husband. Yeah. Or the husband.
Or whoever
I
is
was using
managing
our
the
case.
estate.
But the point is whoever they have somebody manage the estate, and that wealth transfer would go to like all my kids and everyone designated and Natalie. And then when Natalie dies, her wealth transfer has to go somewhere. So Natalie and I have already set up that like, when I die, my wealth transfer goes to Natalie. When she dies, the wealth transfer goes to everybody else. So the point is somebody has to manage all that. And that's defined as wealth transfer. It's moving from the principal,
Which means essentially people are dying.
or somebody sells their company and now they have charities and all these other things, and they want somebody else to manage all that. They don't want to manage.
Go back to the number, because this number, guys, put in that context.
$10 trillion
$10 trillion of
equity
money has to be
in the US
transferred to something, to some vehicle for it to make money for the beneficiaries of that wealth.
Yeah.
And so,
and a lot of that's tied up in business equity.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of people that you got to put it on the proper scale, right? There's a lot of people that maybe $500,000 or $1 million is their wealth transfer. Because if you look at the baby boomers that own their own businesses and they're aging, all of a sudden their exits are in the next 1, 3, 4, 5 years. So if you're 58 or 62 or 68 and you're thinking, hey, I want to exit the next 3 to 5 years, and you're going to sell your business, that's wealth transfer.
Mhm.
So there's 10 trillion. And if you
In
know
the next what amount of time?
actually in the next like 8 years,
It's crazy.
that
So
would be
much
in this
money.
targeted segment of small to mid-sized businesses. So for those of you that are licking your chops right now and you're like, hey, if I get myself prepared to understand how to run a business, it's the best time ever for a roll-up strategy, which is why Pat's been hearing this. That's why he's asking the question. He's thinking ahead. So Sherman's thinking ahead because he's got both of them been working with us for a long time. So our friend in Canada down there that's got a $10 million business, like he just said it. He said at some point we're going to have an exit strategy.
Yep.
As soon as he has an exit strategy, they're going to convert their equity for he and his team to cash. And when that happens, that's wealth transfer. Money's moving from one place to them, and then they got to do something with their money, and the equity is moving to somebody else. So being in a position to create that transfer is where the opportunity is. Going in and buying somebody else's business and giving them an exit. This is going to be massive. So this is what our whole program is about. And
this is why we believe in this thing called 10X, because we know that this is going to happen. And for people who have that itch, that burn, that desire, but they know that they're capable of more, it's like, yeah, figure out how to build a business. And you are likely great at the thing that you do, but you don't know all of these things that would allow you to amplify that thing that you do. And once you can figure out all of the things that amplify the thing that you do, there's no stopping how big you can get. And as you get bigger, this wealth transfer needs predictable and stable places to put this money. You're not going to have me, when Brandon dies, put it in $1 million business thinking like, oh, I'm going to believe in this person. Where you're going to want to put it into a business that has predictable cash flow. You're going to want to put it in a business that's large. And so you guys, every one of you has the opportunity to get big, because there is wealth that is going to be accessible to you if you do. But if you don't choose to learn the skill sets that are required in order to get big, you're never going to get there. And we know that you wouldn't show up to a call called 10X Owners Live and still be here 46 minutes in if you didn't have that itch that I was talking about to get big. And what we do is We're here to help you learn the things like finance essentials in order for you to have another thing in your arsenal for you to be able to grow and scale your business. That's
I see
the
someone
whole
that's,
premise
that's right. And so
of what
this,
we do.
this, and then in addition to this, Grant and I launched this new program because we're going to be pushing young entrepreneurs to get bigger. And the market opportunity is so unbelievable. And young isn't by age, young is by ambition.
Mm.
So if you got the ambition, we got the opportunity for sure. And that's why we launched, to Natalie's point, 10X buy sell, because we actually, Tanner has access through all the stuff we do and the databases we have access to the same things that the private equity guys have access to. So we could get listings of tens of thousands of businesses for sale every single day. You know what we're missing though, in order to find and get those businesses, is we're missing an operator that's going to actually be able to step in and run those businesses. In fact, is it tomorrow I'm jumping on the plane?
Yes.
Tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
So I'm flying tomorrow. I'm taking a group of people and we're flying up somewhere, California, to look at a business that we put under letter of intent to buy with one of our members who's been really working on their leadership skills and their operating skills. So, you know, when you're working with us, we're going to be on the hunt for you. You don't even have to do all that work.
But we have to know that you're serious about learning these things, because the reality is most business owners are not serious about it. It pains me. I sometimes go off, even though I'm supposed to be the people and the operations person. I sometimes go off on business owners about just the lack of integrity when it comes to looking at your financials. And if you don't feel confident in it, you're never going to look at it. And if you never look at it, you're not going to know and feel good about growing your business. And so these different programs and these courses that we offer are really us giving the opportunity to what Brandon called an operator, which the translation is for business owners to acquire the skill and go out and do the thing.
Yep. That's exactly right. Exactamundo, por favor. All right. I see Travis on here. Let's unmute Travis. I know Travis is serious about building his business. He just made a big commitment this weekend.
Hi, Travis.
How you doing, buddy?
You got it, Brandon. How you doing, buddy?
Good, bud.
Awesome, man. Hey, Natalie, great to see you guys.
Hi.
I just want to start off by schmoozing myself a little bit, right, Brandon? I appreciate you guys. It was great, Natalie, to meet you in person finally. And man, you pack a punch. It was amazing listening to you speak, and mad respect for you, because you get right down to business and you're definitely helping some people out there. We're kicking butt. I got 16 other people who already grabbed this book, Natalie. So thank you very much. I appreciate you.
That's amazing.
It's just with sharing it with people, you know, everybody's seeing we're at these events and everything and sharing, like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, dude, getting with people who are far better than I am to be better myself every single day, getting mentors and following people that we believe in and trust, and sharing our story from 2017 when we got hooked up with Grant and literally doubling in size and revenue every single day up to this point where we're kind of like going off the rails in a great way. And then finding Brandon, who's like, hey, great, we're going to now structure and show you guys how to like optimize and understand your business and make it efficient. And it's just really, really great to have that sense of security and understanding. And even in the past 2 days, Monday and today, just between the DISC assessment and being able to focus on my personality types, being a driver, something, I forgot the other name, but it just really, really was awesome. And Heather does a bomb job up there teaching the class. And like Brandon, shout out to you, dude. I appreciate you coming over to the table during lunch and closing out my brother Ralph, the analyzer, on that deal, and be like, man, how come when other people talk, you listen to them, but you don't freaking listen to me, man?
That's right, man. That's what we're there for. We're there to help you out, buddy.
That's right. So I don't really have any questions. We're just really excited.
Awesome.
We have our weekly business meetings, which will be the financials meeting will be there. Our finance guy, Dave, who will be coming to the finance event coming up, will be there. And just really excited to start taking the next steps in the programs that we enrolled with, Brandon.
Looking forward to it, buddy. I know you guys are going to crush it. Good seeing you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, let's bring Scooter on.
So great, because it's why we do everything that we
Exactly.
do. Just honestly, that just made my day. Totally made my day, Travis. Thank you for being here.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Scooter.
Thank you for taking my question. This is a fast, easy question. So I've heard you say before, and I wanted to ask last week, I've heard you say that with contractors, and this question relates to income or revenue per employee. So for contractors, use a figure of $85,000 a year to count a contractor as an employee. But in my business, I have several employees that, like, two of them combined don't make $85,000 a year. So I'm struggling as to whether or not, I want to hire more people, but I have 12 people. Our revenue is pushing around 3 million. I'm trying to get that number up, and I didn't know if I should count the ones that make $35,000 a
Well,
year.
so look, are you counting the ones that make 35,000 a year right now?
I am, yes.
Yeah. So you're already north of the 250, even with 12 employees.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. This is why I tell this is why every time it's a caveat. Like I try to say, if your cost basis, use $85,000 as a total cost basis. If you can get 2 employees at 40 grand, count them as one.
Gotcha.
But you still have to generate 250,000 plus, and you want to get to like 500,000. You want to get that as high as you can. So you're doing the right things. Just keep doing what you're doing. But I use that 85,000 because when we went out and surveyed the 4,000 businesses, there were different kind of businesses. You had service business, you had professional businesses. So we had to average that low end. And anytime you're generating $100,000 of revenue per employee, no one was making any real money in any of those businesses. So I say 85,000 is the cumulative cost for labor or for employment cost. And then you should be generating 250 to 500,000 on top of that 85,000. So this is why, like in some cases, like Sherman went and hired a team in other countries. So he's able to get his labor costs down, which allows him to reinvest. And now what's happening is he's reinvesting in those teams because the difference in cost of labor by countries is you can then deploy that capital into other investment strategies. And in his case, he's adding to those teams so that they can grow the business even further. So great question. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right. Good seeing you, buddy.
Appreciate
So let's see. We have two left here. We're going to go to iPad. That's not like my lenses are bad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
Get him unmuted.
get him unmuted here.
What
So
are you
iPad.
doing with the iPad?
iPad. Good naming.
That's like,
Good naming
that's like
there.
the newbie.
This is like
naming.
newbie 10X
Oh, it's
owners
me.
live.
What?
Hi, I'm iPad.
I had no idea I'm iPad. I see that now. I don't know what happened. That's interesting. Well, hey, Brandon. Hey, Natalie.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see y'all. You guys are amazing. I love being a part of your team, your culture, and just receiving from you too. It's just really been really great. And I'm excited for what we've got going on. So I do have a quick question. February has been probably the hardest month I've had in a while. We started off strong, and then the projects that we got into, certain things happened. We had 3 or 4 big projects that just had to stop because of unforeseen things. And my response to it in the past would have been, anxiety and all these other emotions. But because of what I've received from you, I understand it's like some turbulence we hit or a bump in the road, and we're looking further down the line. But my reaction was to just go out and sell and try to drive more jobs that we could find to replace those, so that we had an overload of projects coming in, so that we could grab to fill that space, because we hadn't been to that place before. So that, I guess my question is that the proper response to that? Or what would you suggest my response?
Look, dude, what you're talking about is the 4 A's: acknowledge, accept whatever you're up against, act towards what you want to have happen, and as you gain traction, attack it, right? Because your alternative is to sit around and wallow in the pain of your jobs, and what that doesn't benefit anybody on your team. And so the future pipeline will be determined on your activities you take right now. So worst case, you're building your future pipeline and you're learning something. Like, don't go all in on 3 or 4 big jobs, because if they stop, you're screwed on the other. I just want to tell everybody, for those that are struggling right now, I just want to say something to all of you, because we all are going to struggle. That's part of this game, and you got to toughen up, have resilience. Let me just say this. I was getting coffee this morning and I ran into a dear friend of Natalie's and mine. Okay. He was literally a couple weeks away from doing a deal with his business for a lot of money, like life-changing money. And the deal went away because of COVID within 3 weeks. He was 3 weeks away from getting the money and they backed out. It was devastating. And he had to fight tooth and nail for about 18 months to keep that business alive. And he started doing the what ifs early on. I'm like, dude, you got one direction. What are we going to do today to secure tomorrow? Mm-hmm. So he went into beast attack mode. Now I tell you guys this because he was in beast attack mode. You know, when there's a catalyst in your life, you don't necessarily know what that is until you look back and see in reflection what that was. He told me with everything that's because his competitors failed and gave up while he was staying pressing. He's now a global company. He's bought 8 of his biggest competitors for almost no money. In 3 cases, he did it just by hiring on their key staff, but he got the brand with the deal. Mm-hmm. With the contracts he's already secured in the last 7 months, he'll be at 400 million in revenue on his way to $1 billion. And he just signed contracts. He's got 3 contracts in his hands that are worth 100 million a year because no one else can service him, because he got big by just keeping his head down and clawing, that resilience, and his competitors fell out. And because he already had a lot of those contracts, they brought everything to him. Mm-hmm. So he was showing me his calls and his different countries he was doing today. He's sitting now running a global organization. He's laughing and saying, you know what my funnest thing to do is now? I used to dread waking up in the morning because I think, oh God, I gotta grind. I wake up, I'm so excited to wake up, open my email because money was exchanged during the 12 hours that I clocked out and I was sleeping or spending time with my family, because it's happening in other places of the world, because it's now a 24/7 business. So the thing I want to tell you is that when you're building a business, you never know until some future state or some future point in time, all the bullshit you had to deal with to get there. You're never going to know if that made you stronger or weaker until you're there. Mm-hmm. The only thing you know is when you give up, you're screwed.
I would just like to say something on Brandon's leadership strategy, because it's something that in the moment sucks. Like, it totally sucks sometimes how he handles a loss or a defeat in our business or in one of our departments, because Brandon has a team around him that he expects to be on top of things. And if the team isn't on top of things, there is somebody who is responsible. That's why this whole KPI thing of like group KPIs, like in our organization, there is one person that is responsible when shit goes right and shit goes wrong. When that happens in our organization, Brandon does not involve himself. Brandon, you will not hear Brandon making cold calls, outbound phone calls for us, or getting on a phone with a client who's upset. Like, he will not do that, because there are people who have the opportunity in those positions to figure out and solve the problem. Now, if you don't have that team and it's a matter of your business either sinking or being successful, obviously you have to make the choice to go back in the weeds with the troops and figure out how to make it work. But this idea really should be around, how do you build a team? How do you build a finance team? How do you build an accounting team? How do you build an ops team and a sales team and a marketing team, so that there's somebody who recognizes that they have the opportunity to awe and delight you and to create the business that you want, while also you're giving them the opportunity. And it's not like team members hate him for doing that. In the moment, it sucks, because you kind of want somebody to like get down in there with you and help you figure it out. And you, by all means, will roll up your sleeves when necessary. But I like a good challenge. He recognizes, and the team recognizes, it's not the right use of his time. And so for all of you, how do you strive to have a business that looks like that, because most of you don't have enough team members to actually make that happen. And you are the person that gets pulled down back into the weeds. So what is that going to look like from a planning standpoint, from an expansion standpoint, so that you can get there, because it is possible. And you're giving the team the opportunity of a lifetime to be able to be subject matter experts in a field where they have responsibility, and they have to take the responsibility in the good times and also the times when you have an off month and February isn't great.
Crush it, dude. Never
Go
give
crush it.
up.
Make March your best month ever.
Ride or die.
Oh, okay. With that,
Let's have one more. We got Jordan on here. Oh yeah. I forgot we had a dinner
okay.
appointment.
Jordan has to be real fast.
Jordan, you got to be fast, buddy.
Oh, I've got kind of a long question, but
Oh,
I'll be as quick as
Hey,
possible.
go to the end of the story and just ask the best question you can ask.
Okay, so my dad has a company that distributes donuts, and our largest customer is now looking to take over the distribution. And so we're losing about 70% of our business. So how do we structure our business to keep the distribution and kind of sell it to them rather than just them taking over?
Yeah, well, this is why when I talk about wide and thin and deep and narrow, this is a deep and narrow business. See how one client is 70% of the business, right? That's what you just said. That's a deep and narrow, and those are the most dangerous. You got to diversify. I'm telling everybody, do not ever have one customer that's more than 22% of your business. Diversification is critically important. So in this particular case, I will be honest with you, I don't have enough information to give you the guidance that you need. But it is a good question, and there's probably multiple ways to go about trying to structure something. It just depends on how much leverage they have on you. And so you're the manufacturer and you are distributing, and they want to cut the middleman out, which is your distribution piece of it, right?
Correct.
Do they have the right to do that? Because you're the manufacturer. What gives them the right to take over your distribution?
So like I said, the shortest way to explain it is he's been with the donuts for 40 years. And he's the one that brought the relationship to the Holiday gas station, which is widely known in Utah. And so he brought that relationship 40 years ago. And now Holiday, they've gotten big enough that they want to just do their own distribution.
Yeah, but they want you to still supply the donuts?
No, they want to do their own distribution.
Oh, they want to move vendors. They want to get away. They want to do their own
vertically
supply.
integrate.
They want to do their own supply stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's where they want to go in the long run. Right now, they want to continue with Dunford, but we're A&J distributor, and they want to cut us out, and they want to be their own distributors.
Yeah, so they want to go direct to the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Right? And you're not the manufacturer.
No.
Yeah, so it's always sucks to be the middleman. I'm telling everybody, anybody that's been through my programs, I talk about getting squeezed when you're thin and wide and you're in a middleman role, you're going to get squeezed every time. So in this particular case, the way you counteract that is you find every one of their competitors and you tell them you have the best donuts and you start selling to everybody else, because once you lose distribution you probably don't have any contractual rights to force them to buy through you, right?
No, we don't.
Yeah. So, and I know it's a crappy place. I've been there a few times, so I can share in that pain, but you guys are gonna have to find an alternative supplier, and you're gonna have to try to go build that route with some other value add. Do you guys also do candy and everything, or are you just doing donuts?
Cookies, yeah, and muffins and stuff. Yeah.
You do it. Who's doing your candy?
It's all through Dunford.
Yeah. So, I got a guy, are you the candy distributor too? Donuts and candy? Do you?
Cookies and
No,
I know, but I asked who's doing the candy.
No, we don't. That's M&M. We don't work with M&M.
Got it.
Oh, the candy.
That Cormark does most of it. And
Does
they
it?
want to be their own distributors.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, dude, it would take more of it takes more than just a live call to figure this out. If you want to schedule some time with Josh and see where we could get you to get in a place where we could sit down for 20 minutes and go through this conversation, then, we've got enough events and stuff going on to do that. We also have a friend that's one of the largest candy distributors in the country. That's always looking for new partners to distribute through. So maybe you go to Youre.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan.
All right. Look, we love this group. What?
Finance with me.
Oh, Finance Essentials. I say we love this group. We can't wait to see as many of you as possible at the Finance Essentials
Yes,
this
you can
weekend.
say that. That's right. If you are interested, team, this is the last chance. You guys are all a part of our Cardo Ventures team. If you are on this call, you are officially a Cardo Venture, and we would love to see you this weekend in Scottsdale, Arizona. That is March 5th and 6th. And tonight and tonight only, if you buy the Finance Essentials workshop, we are giving you access to the 10X Business Buying Accelerator. This is the only place that you can get this offer. This offer will not last. It will not be there tomorrow. So if you want to take advantage of this, shoot the QR code and our sales team will get on a call with you and we'll get you signed up.
Awesome. And we cannot wait to see you next Tuesday. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the 10X Owners Life. Our team will stay on here and talk to any of you that want to talk about joining us for either the Essentials program or the Business Buying Accelerator program. So thank you guys, and we'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Bye, guys.
The whole purpose of this show is to engage with business owners and be able to answer questions for people that will give them some insight and perspective on how to grow and scale a business. Not only leadership, but real life examples. This is the golden moment. I would do business with you right now.